Welcome back to a Ball and a Dream podcast. I'm your host, Jalen Hunter. My co-host, Sterling Todd, Herman Gaines, and with us, Travellis Duncan.
What's up with y'all? Man, hey, you gonna stop it, bro.
T-Bell.
Yeah.
This is the second edition of the Ball and a Dream podcast. This is going to give us the Teach One, Reach One backstory. We're going to start off with Mr. Sterling Torrance and his vision.
Yeah, I'm the founder of the T1R1 Reach One basketball academy that lasted for the last 6 to 7 years. And how I got started was a mailman taught me the game of basketball. My coach did what they did as far as, teaching me the X and O's, but the little things that are critical. A guy in New Jersey that was a mailman bust my ass every day for a whole summer. I cried 'cause I didn't know how to guard him. I didn't know what he was doing without the basketball, but he was scoring. So once I figured it out, I took that to my game, and they got me a basketball scholarship. Well, I didn't go pro. So when I went to New Jersey, this is where I met my wife. And in her projects where she from, it's about 5 state championship teams in their projects. And so, I wasn't hooping at the time. Like, I hadn't touched the basketball after, trying out for the pros. I hadn't touched the basketball for like 5 years. So I didn't know what depression was. So I got up to like 260 pounds. I'm trying to figure out life. So, I happened to meet my wife, and as I'm meeting the wife, the community really took to me. They liked me. So one day I'm in the back, and these little kids, they need an extra person to play. I'm thinking like, okay, I just play just because I like them, so I'm gonna do that. Well, these little kids was busting my ass, so the only thing they knew was I had a jump shot, and there was certain things I was doing they couldn't stop. And so they kind of whipped me back in shape. So as I'm whipping back in shape, me and my girl, my wife, but at the time my girl, we was getting more serious. So they would see me a lot more in her projects. And so when they would see me, now my wife lives on like the 7th floor, so you gonna get a workout taking them damn steps. So they got some high jumping little athletes down there because they run them steps all day. So, they figured out that I was talking to her, and they knew I started staying with her. And so they would come up them 7 flights of stairs in the morning to come and get me and say, hey, big bro, I want you to come work me out because I like that move you was doing. You was using a certain move. I want to learn it. And so I didn't take them serious at first. I brushed them off. And once, they came up like the 4th time, I said, damn, they serious. So I started getting up, and I went down and I started working them out. And so what ended up happening was I moved back to Kentucky. And so I have my son at the time, so we going back and forth to New Jersey. So every time I go back, one of the kids that I had trains, hey big bro, I got a scholarship. Man, I appreciate you working me out. And, can I take you out to eat? How long you gonna be here? So I knew then, like, it happened so many times. My wife was like, man, you got more friends than I got at home. How's that like happening? Like, as soon as you come off, touch the concrete, they run up on you. I'm like, I didn't know the gift at that time. I was just doing what I felt was good and what was right. And so as I started biddy ball in Bowling Green, my son, he been dribbling the basketball since he was about 18 months. As soon as I saw him shoot it through the net, I skipped jump shot and went straight to dribbling. so he always, in biddy ball, he was playing up. So when people were seeing him, they were thinking he was in the same grade as these other kids. But he would be playing like 2 grades up. And so I met Vale. And once I met Vale, he was a father of one of the kids that was on the sidelines. And so when they gave me the list for biddy ball coaches, his name wasn't on the list. And so the other guy that name was on this, he didn't show up. And so I asked him, because I didn't know what he was doing at first. He was just sitting there. And I was like, asked him what his name was. He was like, Trevellis. I was like, what they call you? He was like, T-Ville. And so I said, you got a kid out here? Because, you know, I ain't see no kid come to him or nothing. He was like, yeah, I got that one right there. I said, well, you won't help me coach? And he was like, yeah. So I didn't even know if Vale knew anything. From what we know now, he's very knowledgeable. But at the time, I just, as soon as he said he was a daddy, instantly, I knew he wanted to be right there. I was going to take a chance to see if he was going to put in the work as a daddy, not knowing if he knew basketball. So when we started doing the training part, I was going to this church called Full Trinity Gospel. And so I met Pastor Beeson. And, you know, I went down one day and he asked me what I wanted. And I said, I just want to do something good in this community. And so he heard I was good in basketball. And he turned me on to a guy named Scott who was running the foundry. And so when I got the foundry, I was just taking my little boy and a couple of his little friends in the gym just working out. But I knew that I had something going because the pastor went to bat for me to get that gym. And they handed me the keys and asked me what I wanted to do. And as you can see, Teach One, Reach One was what I produced out of that foundry. And so, you know, once I met Trevellis, I bumped into IV. And IV was a little kid that my wife knew his aunt. And we also knew his uncle. And I didn't know Herm at the time, but I knew IV. And so I started training IV. And so when I trained IV, you know, he was getting good, but he had a jump shot. He had a jump shot out this world, but he couldn't dribble a ball worth 2 wood nickels. So Salim used to tear his ass up, but like now, no, it's like I told him a secret. You can catch anybody if you work hard, and that's the resilience of IV. Is that the fact that he believed every word I told him, and I could have been lying to the boy. And he was going to go do a try, whatever I told him to do. And so once I met Herm, I found out Herm was actually IV's daddy. And that even made it even more kosher to why Teach One, Reach One developed, because it was all daddies that was involved. Like, it wasn't nobody at first wanting to just be there to put no time in. So I took the initiative that if you was a daddy, we wanted you in Teach One, Reach One. And that's how Teach One, Reach One got started. And then we started, you know, after a couple of years of crock potting, not microwaving any kid, we started whooping y'all asses. And coaches started wanting kids that they didn't want to come to their program. Or the kids that were at their programs, we took them and made them better for the program. So now what you're seeing in 2022, you're seeing Teach One, Reach One reap the benefits of training kids that go to one program. That's what I got to do with this Teach One, Reach One program. It was an experiment, and it was something that, you know, I basically enjoyed doing because I gave other people opportunities to see something that they may not have thought would work, and saw how it worked without any funding by any company other than the three amigos. So whatever you saw us do, that was through daddies doing it. And so that's what I represented as far as the culture of Teach One, Reach One. Was I was going to be a person who, you know, played daddy to a lot of kids once I realized what I was getting involved in. But I loved it.
Okay, so T-Ville, let's get your backstory and how you got involved in Teach One, Reach One.
I mean, like Sterling said, I was just at a practice.
No, I want. What led you to Teach One, Reach One? So we got your ball and dream story.
Look, Look, I'm telling you, this is what it was. It was that practice. I was just taking little man to a practice. You know what I'm saying? My son was just born. He had a big brother, and I seen he wasn't athletic, and and it was only because there was a choice, and he didn't know that he could become what he wanted if he put some work in. Like, and the whole objective of it was I wanted to shake him up out of his ass. I wanted to run all that up out of him because he kept on wheezing too much when he was just moving around for me, and I ain't like it. Over the time, like I want to say a year, 2 years before it, I had him playing with the BG Panthers with Deuce Bailey and a couple of the other stars out there at Bowling Green on the field. And he started out on the line. And I told him, if he stay committed, that he could get what he wanted because he said he wanted to be in the backfield. Like, and after 2 summers of working out and then, introducing him to basketball and then us running into Sterling, what I'm saying, he ended up being in the backfield. And, it came to the point where Sterling asked me if I wanted to help him coach at that basketball practice. And I was like, yeah. And I was all in since then. And it all came together perfectly, you know what I'm saying? Because with my son, I just wanted him to be around other kids chasing a dream and actually pushing. Like it's something that I never had growing up, and what I did have was an introduction to, what I'm saying, Tommy Frazier being on and winning national championships 3 out of 4 years. You know what I'm saying? Because my mama taught him. And wearing a mind greeting jersey to school and stuff like that because he stayed around the corner, and my mama taught at that school. Stuff like that just made me feel like I I can give a kid that energy if they want it. And with Sterling asking me, I was like, man, this is my chance to see if I can really make a change with kids instead of just with one. Let's see what I can do with a group and see how far it's go. And like he said, it just all came together perfect. Then we met Herm and IV, and like he said about IV, he couldn't dribble to save his life.
Slim would be
We was amazed at how good he could shoot the ball, but how he couldn't dribble. Like you spend so much time shooting. Like we was like, why you on? He was like, I don't know. I just never felt like I needed to. I just always shot it. So we just, like Sterling said, he believed everything we told him. We told him if he wanted it, he can get it. But it ain't gonna be easy. And a lot of kids they give up once you say it ain't gonna be easy. Once they hear it ain't gonna be easy, it's all, yeah, well, this ain't meant for me. And we seen a lot of that, but with IV, he loved the challenge. Like, cause Sterling said Salim and Deuce and them used to cook him in the gym. And
and
he ain't never cried about it to us or in the gym. But I knew deep inside he ain't like it.
Who'd he cry to?
He cried to his mama. He went to his mama, but she always kept him on the straight path, like she told him.
shooting no
This is what
joke.
you need. If you really want this is what you need. And when it comes to how everything came together for him, it was a whole team effort. It was from his mama always being there when we was hard on him and telling him it's like that. If you don't like it, you gotta do something. Him taking that home and actually seeing that his mama tell him they right.
And he didn't get to play with his age group when he thought he was good.
So he went from that and actually finally catching up to them, and then we pushed him ahead.
Okay, so that takes us to Herm. How'd you get involved in Teacher and Reach One?
This had to be like I'd be fifth grade.
Yep.
Yeah, he was in the fifth
Yep,
grade.
fifth grade.
Yeah. Look, when they say a shooter, that's all he was. Shoot in the corner. As you leave him in the corner, it's buckets. But if you run out there on him, it's a turnover. It's a turnover. Automatic. I already know. I know the other coaches didn't know, but I knew. If you put that ball on the ground, it's going the other way. All right, this 5th grade. He was playing Parson Rex for maybe 4 or 5 games, if that. I think he told me his uncle talked to Sterling. So now this had to be like maybe 2 months now he with Sterling. I still haven't seen Sterling Lavelle, but I just hear about him when he come for practice. I know something was different because I'm working 3rd shift, so I'm sleeping. So morning time I hear basketball dribbling in the house. So there wasn't no basketball dribbling, it was just more shooting. But now I had a lot of playing with the basketball. So I get up, ask him what he got playing going on today. He said he going to practice. I'm like, practice where? I said, Parson Rex. He said, no. My uncle Lewis found me a gym to go to. I said, He said, yeah, I got 2 trainers now. Trainers? Now I'm thinking, okay, you got 2 trainers. Now who paying for these 2 trainers? That's what I want to know. So maybe a week go by. So I end up taking him to practice one day. When I get there, drop him off, let him do his thing. I just sit back and I'm just observing, looking at the kids, the coaches, how they react with the kids, especially how they talk to the kids. Try to get them on track. Kids at the 5th grade, they bouncing around. But these 2, they know how to talk to them, set them down, get them in line. So now they start working out training. They end up doing some sessions, and end up meeting with Vail, talking with Vail on a break just for like 5 minutes. Man, connection from day one. Then I definitely, when I got with Sterling and talked to him, oh man, look here, another connection. I said, oh yeah, he ain't going nowhere. This where he need to be at. We was all in from then. From 5th grade all the way to what? Now he in the 12th grade. 6 years later, man. Hey,
Yeah.
They showed him.
Let's get to my story of how I got to teach with Reach.
Yeah.
Let's get
It's a little bit different from y'all's. So, let's see. So I flunked out of college. I was there at Western for like 2 semesters. I flunked out. Started working. So in 2014, one of Bowling Green coaches, they just went to the Final Four. He got a job at Warren East, so he calls me. He wants to be on staff. Coach Brandon Combs, shout out to him. Hey, without him, wouldn't none of this been possible.
Shout out.
big facts.
So he asked me to come on staff, so I volunteered that first year. The next year, he puts me on staff full time. So that following year, I am the head coach of the freshman team. And then I'll say that following year, I was the head coach of another freshman team. So that was probably the best group of kids I've ever coached. Just the experience I had and the fun we had. Also, we were freshman 14 district runner-ups to Bowling Green. We beat everybody in district but Bowling Green. Just saying. I do know I'm doing a little bit.
You ain't gonna whoop your alma mater anyway.
I almost did. What you talking about?
Now I said you didn't really want to.
I want to beat the brakes off of it. I just wanted to.
You put that in your belt.
So I was there for Warren East for 5 years total. Then I left and went to Bowling Green. I was the head coach of the 6th grade. That group gave me headaches. But that group gave me headaches. They are juniors right now, and they going to be something special. All of them.
And they were part of that T1R1 Reach One group I was trying to get.
That's actually where I met Sterling. And he was helping me out a little bit. But there was, like Kerm said, there was a connection. And it was just like, well, let's go back. Let's go back a little bit. Also, I had 2 more mentors on my Warren East staff. Coach Orlando Hayden, Shout out to him. He's going to do big things here in Russellville. We're going to talk about him later.
Yep.
Robert Franklin, he has records out at Warren East, but they won't give him love like he needs to. Shout out to him.
Man, we don't talk about that then. Talk about it.
But they were instrumental in me learning the game before I got to Sterling. But there was that connection. He started giving me game, not just about basketball, but in life. He saw that I took it and applied it, came back to him asking more questions.
He was like the kids in Newark.
Give me some
That's how
more.
I knew. Yeah, I was like, hey, hold on, man. Ooh, he wanted.
But he invited me to the gym one day. I took him up on that, and that's why I met Herman T-Vale. And, they don't want to talk about this day too much, but, I took a bunch of kids and whooped on them all day, didn't take an L.
I don't recall that being that day. It might have been a later day.
No, it was the first day in the gym where I
That day.
and he was like, who is this, man? And I didn't do a lot of scoring. I was just doing a lot of conducting and doing a lot of defense.
Yeah, them kids look different.
You
that
were.
But that day, it was also a connection with them too, and it was just like I was locked in from there. So, I got locked in. I did the whole rebranding thing, started recording games. RJ Productions.
He really is the backbone right
Shout
now.
out.
Man. He really
RJ Productions, I go around court games. You want to highlight tape, I do things like that. But, helping produce this podcast.
Wait till you see these documentaries, man. Woo.
But, that was my part in teaching Reach One. I was more of a instrumental in the rebranding and the business and getting us seen and recognized of putting faces to the actual name of Teach One Reach One.
Yeah, because I ain't gonna lie to you, I hid from being in the front because I knew nobody from this area want to see one man win. So it's been 2 years. I was 2 years removed from even coaching. At some point, I let Herm and Vale coach, and I sit on sidelines laughing.
Yeah, and I was the one that kept on pushing him, telling him he needs to get his face out there.
Nah, man, it was God's plan to do it this way. To do like I said, man. I always told Herm and them that I just don't want to do this AAU thing. There's a lot of other things we won't do, but we gonna start with this, and it was a good start. It was an experiment. Nobody was doing what we was doing. You had them kids that they be the only one training. And the parents get the, look what little Johnny did. He just went for 37. But Johnny got training.
Like you in the 6th grade?
No, I'm just saying. It's just what it was. It's just what it was. It'd be just a sprinkle of kids who could afford the training. So like Herm said, who's gonna pay for this training? God told me to do that for free.
Yeah.
I never ever charged any kid that you see. That even because you'll see them wearing the paraphernalia, you see them wearing the brand. They'll wear a backpack that got Teach One Reach One on it at some point if you recognize the brand.
Yep.
So I never charged any kid to train because I wasn't charged like that. That mailman, like I said, he made me cry. I was frustrated, but he knew how good I could be, and he knew I wasn't even from around there. So to even be talking cash shit to him, it was a no-no that none of the other kids in New Jersey told my country ass, man, don't talk to that old man like that. He gonna kill you. I didn't know. And so when I went to him and I was like, man, what you doing? And so that sparked anything that I've ever gotten involved in. Boy, you better go ask some questions if you want to know what's going on and you won't be involved. Because that opened it up for me. Because he wasn't going to tell me shit. He was just going to keep grinning and laughing and whooping my ass every day until I came back to Kentucky. But I had the wherewithal as humbling myself and saying, man, what you doing, man? I want to learn it. And once he started teaching me off the ball some screen motion and how to backdoor and how to cut and how to actually set screens so you helping your teammates out. Once I learned those 3 things, and coming back with the handles that I came back with, I was very dominant in this area. So I knew bringing it back, the culture back. It's about, I say in the 4th region now, it's probably about 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 it could probably it's about like 6 kids that probably play how I play that game right now because of the training that they got and the knowledge that everybody has been getting over the last 4 or 5 years playing catch up. So, I felt good about what we doing, but now we doing this podcast, so we get to talk about your kids, man, and Vale Stud still does training though. Travellas Duncan still does training.
AKA T-Bill.
I'll come in more or less on the mental aspect of the game, cause it ain't nothing I ain't been through mentally with the game that I can't give no knowledge to from being injured.
I ain't doing that no more.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know you got your lane. You created your lane.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you supposed
But I
to.
still train.
Supposed
Yeah,
to.
but
And like, it's a lot of Teach One Reach One kids that y'all won't even know about.
That was gonna be my next question. About how many kids do you think we touch, and what school they at now?
Man,
you can't even count how many kids actually touched.
We got.
Just
No, I just want a
gonna
number.
name the schools and name just a number of kids. Just name the schools.
Well, you see the 4th region right now. It's hot right now. It's so exciting because Teach One Reach One is probably on every one of them teams.
Well,
Yeah.
if you localize,
only one we not.
you're not touching the 15th and the 16th district at all. That's so you got Glasgow, Barron County,
We was touching kids.
Metcalf,
We was touching them.
Clinton,
We had a couple of them.
Cumberland, Russell.
No, we had Russell.
Yeah, and some of them couldn't handle the Terradome though, cause I said, the Foundry.
That's the
It-
name. My
it's
girl
good-
called it the Thunderdome.
It's good, clean and wholesome. It's good, Christian, clean and wholesome. But in that gym,
Hey, cutthroat.
yeah,
war.
Terradome. I dare you bring a team down there thinking y'all finna do something, knowing y'all hadn't been properly trained, and I knew it. So, it was. Teach One Reach One eventually was playing with easy money, and that's why you see a lot of startup programs now come from that because they saw the success. And my thing is,
Yeah, but they ain't got the structure though.
well,
And then they build it up, and then it just falls apart.
well, that's because they don't have values. And then too, being real and 100 with the fact that we was in the gym 365 days a year for at least 5 years until COVID hit.
Yeah.
And so, once COVID hit, it put a stalemate on us. And we thought we was gonna just jump back in and rock and roll, but we didn't know we had done progressed the city so much that people saw opportunities to, start weeding us out of what we was doing. Cause being at the Foundry, they didn't even make me pay rent. That's how good our program was. We was bringing kids to the preschool program when they first started the kids. The first 2 years of that inaugural kids was kids that we recruited to their program. And so, I never paid any rent at the Foundry. It was like, what times do you need it and what times are any other activities that was going. So, once we didn't get the building back, me personally, I felt that was God's sign saying, nah, you done did what you did for me. Now go do what you want to do. And so, like I said, it always comes back to reiterating what you see right now, this A Ball and a Dream podcast. So, I give praises to the Most High for allowing us to succeed. Because we really didn't even have too many hiccups outside of COVID.
That was it.
Nope, that was it.
And another rule of thumb that we had, couldn't no parents tell us shit. If you wasn't gonna look, our rule of thumb was silent. Like, we didn't have to say it to you. But if you weren't gonna be in that damn gym with your kid, you can't tell us nothing.
Especially.
You can't tell us even how he acting right now in his gym, because we know everything about what he doing. We gonna know exactly, and that's the hard thing about what we were doing. Sometimes we know inside of people's households.
Yeah.
Because of how the kid would react, or he couldn't get it together that day, and we had to play social services with them to figure out, to get them past whatever it was, so they could just even enjoy training for basketball. We had a lot of kids like that. But once they got involved in our program, we had a high success rate of if they came through our program, they went to college. I'll let you know
But
the ones that
I want to end the podcast with the main point behind this, and it's not even my saying. One man's destiny is connected to so many other people's destinies.
exactly.
Yeah.
So his dream, his vision brought
This is what it led to.
Vale, Herm, and me together to make this all possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one man's destiny is connected to so many other people's destinies. But so that ends the teach one, reach one backstory.
He had a cousin. I about to start naming names. Right?
That ends the teach one, reach one backstory episode. Tune in for the season preview coming up real soon.